The timbered hall had a thatched roof and a high-beamed doorway at which Cedric stood nervously. The door was answered by some sort of guard, who ushered Cedric into a small vestibule, where he was left waiting and feeling conspicuous. After a while, he heard voices in the background. "It's the lad what wrote to you about the hangings, sire," the guard was reporting to a muffled reply. Eventually he was greeted by a rather frowsy-looking man of 50 or 60 with thinning and disordered hair, a shirt hanging sloppily out of his breeches. "Ah, so you must be Mr. Frauck. Yes, my office received your letter." Cedric had enlisted the schoolmaster to pen his request, and had deposited the note personally through the letterbox. "My name is Bambridge, Mr. Osbert Bambridge, steward of the village, and I'm delighted to receive you. Please come through to the study." Cedric felt his knees shake as he followed into the capacious study. Shelves crammed with books and parchment. At its centre a huge desk, behind which the dishevelled Bambridge flopped into a chair, with an air of blasé superiority. Among the cluttered papers massed upon his desk, Cedric noticed a half-empty jug of some alcoholic spirit or another, a glass on its side with the residue of liquid dribbling onto the tablecloth. "So," and he peered at the paper Cedric recognised as his letter, retrieved from a pile and crumpled in his hand. "If you wouldn't mind just running me through it again, old son, fill me in on the details, so to speak." Well, it was when I heard about old Mr. Weir, sir." "Ah, yes," cut in Bambridge. "A tragic loss. Indeed, sir, yes, I was so upset, sir, when I heard he'd passed away." Bambridge was scanning his eyes across the letter now, which it was quite clear he had never bothered reading the first time round. Undeterred, Cedric continued, in a voice grave and respectful. "You could say Mr. Weir were an inspiration to me, Mr. Bambridge, sir. I'd been allowed to shadow him, sir, to learn the ropes like." Bambridge broke into a laugh at this last phrase, but soon readjusted his features when he realised Cedric had not intended it as a pun. "He was like a second father to me, sir, were old Weir. He taught me everything. Indeed, he was a fine, upstanding member of our community. And, well, now he's dead, I thought, there must be a vacancy, like, for hangman." Of course," laughed Bambridge, genially, settling back in his chair. "This is where he offers me it," thought Cedric. "This is where he gives me the job." Yes, the sad passing of Mr. Weir did indeed necessitate the appointment of a successor to his long-held post of... Here the steward grew a little embarrassed and spoke the word executioner almost under his breath, as if to say it were a distasteful admission of some shameful fact. Cedric felt his muscles tighten in anticipation, and could not help a smile slowly broadening on his lips. This was the moment he had been waiting for all his life. "Thank you, Mr. Bambridge," he blurted, unable to contain himself. "I'm sorry, Mr. Frauck. I'll be delighted to accept." "Oh, Mr. Bambridge, it's an honour, sir. I only hope I can do justice to my predecessor in a worthy way. I shall try my utmost to put into practice all of the... Mr. Frauck, I'm afraid you seem to have grasped the wrong end of the proverbial stick." Embarrassed, Bambridge looked down at his desk, an awkward expression on his jowly face, as if wishing beyond hope that the younger man would leave. When it was clear that the aspiring hangman had no intention of departing, he tried lightening the mood. "Anyway," he chirped, with a broad-toothed smile, "what on earth would a young whipper-snapper like you be wanting with such a job, eh? No doubt you'd sooner be out there on the farm, playing your part in feeding, so you don't want me to do it." Cedric sounded angry, hurt. There were the prickings of tears in his eyes. "You say in all that time I helped old Weir, it were a waste of time." "No!" cried Bambridge emphatically. "Absolutely not! Perish the thought, young man, and cease to think for a single moment that your efforts for our parish have been of anything other than the most exemplary and valuable service. We are bowled over with gratitude, overwhelmed with admiration at your contributions, Frauck. I myself am totally in awe of your achievements and hard work." He took a breath and calmed himself. "It's just that Well, we've already offered the job to someone else. Cecil stared down at the floor, dumbfounded. So someone else? Well, yes, that's right. We've given it to Blumby. He's agreed to take us on in addition to his existing duties over at Multhorpe. He's the hangman there. I know who he is, spat Cedric. You don't have to tell me. I watched him whack old Froggatt at Halloween and saw him bob Bob off. He's a yanker, old Weir says. That means an anger what doesn't do it with the right skill. He just yanks 'em down, does Blumby. He's rough with it. Mr. Frowk, if that is quite enough, I would beg to call a close to this discussion. Bambridge sounded impatient now, eager to reassert authority. I'm afraid the decision has been taken to appoint Mr. Blumby as hangman, whether you agree with it or not. But Mr. Bambridge, and that decision is final.